Ready to talk?
Yeah, you're good now.
What time is it? It's 5 after 1 right now.
4 after.
Hey, Vern, can you make that a little bit smaller?
What's that?
Can you make it a little bit
Workshop.
smaller? That can-
You can
And
almost read it, can't you?
so we're gonna start this. This is with the sheriff only today. And it'll last for about an hour and a half. We're scheduled, what, 1 to 2:30? 2:30. And so we'll try to make that time. Sheriff's in here to discuss the 26 budget and the request, so, and I think he's aware of a lot of things about the budget we've talked about already with everybody, so take it over, Rich, and tell us what you got first and what you're asking and what you know and what you can tell us about how
So
to defend it.
The main thing, and I see this graph out there, in the past, we had increased the sheriff's budget 15% a year, which is unsustainable. And a lot of that was eaten up in the jail costs. And so Sheriff Cooper in Fremont County, he each year calculates what the increase in the cost of law enforcement is. And last year, he said the number was 34% of just these everything that we buy is expensive. You know, if you're buying a taser cartridge or bullets or police cars, everything has gone up. And so in the past, so the biggest number here at the Orange Peak was Robert Hill's budget that was approved for 23. And then since then, we've declined each year. And if you add up the space that's in blue, that's roughly $2.5 million that we saved by not having to have the jail open.
Is that primarily the jail?
In my opinion, most of the savings comes from not having the jail open. But we have made cuts on other things, and we've absorbed the cost of inflation or the cost of law enforcement over the last couple of years.
Okay, and so the number I see here for 26 is what you got.
So this number for 26 would be 12% more than the 25 budget, or $257,000. And that is sprinkled out through several
Mostly
things.
in
that we do here.
communications and software and programs that we have to use.
Does that jive with what Vernon gave you then today?
That represents that number right there, yeah.
Okay.
This is I have it broken out by sheriff's office admin, sheriff's office patrol, and then the jail, and any capital improvements.
Okay, so
This is what we already have in capital improvements without any additionals. Capital expenditures and this is the difference, the increase.
okay. So what I told the sheriff after our meeting yesterday, was it, or the day before, so the time's not crazy, is that our budget is really tentative right now. We're on eggshells wondering what the feds are going to do with all our grants, and which we depend on, which isn't really, you're not dependent on the salaries for that or not, but the issue is other things that you could do to help the salaries is there. Right now, we can't take an increase in any salaries right now, unless there's some other things that we can work together to work out, maybe partially or whatever. So I said to come in here and give us some suggestions on how you see your budget, and let's talk about.
So I appreciate the financial situation that the county's in, but all of the citizens are probably in the same boat. They're not getting pay raises. However, our pay is not competitive with the surrounding area, and we've attracted some top quality people. 30-year Texas Ranger, 25-year Houston PD Sergeant, Steve Carnegie, 30 years in law enforcement. We've got some top people, and it's worth investing in. And so what I think I can contribute is with particularly the military surplus program. So for a year, and it roughly started last October, we've gone to the Defense Logistics Agency. It used to be called DRMO at Fort Carson. And then they have equipment that is available for law enforcement and or fire purposes, and we qualify for both because the sheriff is the fire warden of the county. And so over the last year, we've accumulated some things. The biggest ticket item being the MRAP, which is actually on loan. We have to give it back if we're done, and we have a Humvee. But things like generators and tires and some man lifts and shipping containers and things. And so if we decide at the end of holding them for a year, which is now in play, we're allowed to sell those off to support law enforcement. And so I feel confident that that will be a new source of revenue for us, literally beginning here this October 1st, which we're at now.
Yeah, I bet we all know that some of it can't be used for salaries. Is that true?
None of it is for
It can be salary?
Can't be
Okay, can't be
salaries.
salary, so we could use it to fund.
But we can use
Other
it
things,
for
and
a bunch
then
of
you
other
can, then
things
you
to
can move
offset
other monies
the
around
jail.
perhaps, or we can.
So I think that whatever number that Vern had on the sheet before, that's certainly in reach.
We conservatively put 65,000 for revenue, and that's a very conservative estimate that's about half based on what our audit sheet and going through what we had that Vernon even looked at and came up with. I think it was like around 128 or something that.
You able to pull up that email that I sent?
Yeah, do it.
But in
That's good.
particular, the highest value items that we've got are the road grader, which is at Road and Bridge, and then we just got this telehandler forklift thing today. And unfortunately, the diesel tank got contaminated with water, so we have to drain it and put a new fuel filter on it. But a year from now, we could sell it, and I brought in a local person who has the excavating business, and he said the road grader he thought was worth every bit of 80,000, and that's what they also have as the value for this telehandler.
That's the road grader that we think we'd use on the landfill.
In the meantime, I would be willing to contribute that to the landfill. The purpose that we put when we got it was to help regrade our gun range, which is on the landfill property, and obviously we don't need it 100% of the time. We only need it for a couple
The
projects.
159.
Every once in a while, have some
Is that
erosion
this?
come through there. So I would
that's
be
the
happy to
amount.
leave it there.
156.
Yeah, that'd work.
Oh, and then stuff like jackets and mittens, we got that and just issued it straight to the deputies, so that's something we normally would
Yeah.
provide. The sleeping bag, every police car has a sleeping bag, which is like an emergency thing.
We were working off the number of 156,484. So that's how I said conservatively, we took 65,000.
Okay,
So the stuff in yellow, you're thinking you'll sell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's all be eligible for sale.
that's a good chart.
And
So I'll be the first to admit that the number that the Army puts on it, in some cases is pretty generous, but on this road grader and the forklift telehandler, the people tell me, no, that's actually a pretty fair price for it.
Yeah.
And those are I think they're more accurate, maybe the bigger the item is.
Well, you can get a better bid on it, for sure.
And Bill, to answer your question, we addressed what we could do last year with salaries, knowing that you came to us and said, come to us with bare bones. That's why we were at the 1.9 last year, which is lower than most of the
Yeah,
years
you did a great
previous.
job.
So knowing that we didn't have money for it last year, that's when we changed our schedule and started a different schedule so that the deputies are getting an effective rate instead of an actual hourly rate based on the amount of hours that they work. So,
And it almost eliminated overtime. In the past, we actually had $100,000 a year built into the schedule that they got overtime every month, whether we needed them to be
And
working.
sometimes it wouldn't be there, it was just a piece of money sitting there not doing anything.
And I think they did it to absorb gaps in manpower and things, so you had
Yeah,
people, but we took that away. And like, I don't know what our overtime number is for this year, but we've had a couple things come up where it's unavoidable, so.
so show me where you said you were not compatible with the rest of the law enforcement in
Not,
the surrounding area.
yeah, so I sent you guys sent you specifically a salary survey, and so, Ann Lawachi
Got
called,
it, right?
you guys have it?
No, I think it wasn't, you sent it
I
to Bill.
didn't see it.
I'll send it to you right this
Send it
minute.
right now,
Uh,
because I've been
If you
tied
wanna
up.
send it to me, I can put it up on the screen too.
That'd be great, let's do that, that's easier.
Anyway, so Ann Lawachi called kind of all the law enforcement agencies between here and Teller County, and So I have it here, I'm gonna forward it
Send it
to
to all,
Vern.
send it to Vernon, Vernon can send it to us.
And-
Forward it.
And so we just simply are not competitive with these other agencies. And that's just looking at the actual hourly salary, but some of them have way better benefits, particularly in the area of retirement plans. The only place that we're beating is Fremont County Sheriff, but their staffing is in bad shape right now. The jail is understaffed, the street is understaffed, and the deputies actually made a union to go negotiate themselves directly with the commissioners to try to
That'll help.
get their pay.
Been mend fences once.
So we took it down, current actual right now, overtime, we are at $9,000 for the year.
Instead of 100 in the years prior, before we switched to this new schedule.
So did we have more last year booked for you? Overtime?
Last year, 2024 actual was $20,000 overtime.
Okay, so you're way down.
Yeah.
Well, so this shows the last 5 years. 2022 is 26,000, 2023 was 36,000, 2024 was 20, and this year is 7 or 8.
And that's for
There's a
patrol.
little-
That's for patrol.
That's for patrol. There's a little bit in,
So that brings it up to 9, like you said.
Yeah.
here in,
There's
excuse me.
just at 1,000 in detentions and 800 in admin.
So the driver for that is your ability to do what? What happened to make, you mentioned it. You were able to eliminate the overtime because of.
We switched to a new schedule, so they work 5 days in a row, 10 hours. Then they get 5 days off, 5 days on, 4 days off.
The new schedule incorporates overtime pay into the schedule, so it allows for overtime hours to already be in the schedule, so that, because we always know that there's no way to avoid overtime in law enforcement. And so we always know that there's gonna be some overtime. So instead of having a pool of money that we just draw from, we went ahead and put it in the schedule so that they have overtime hours built in.
Okay,
And then I went to the deputies saying, you already have overtime hours built in. If you don't work all of those hours, then it's basically a raise for you, which is the effective rate of pay, instead of, getting,
right, that's up formally.
yeah.
That includes the time it takes to move prisoners from Canyon up here.
Well, 99% of the time that's done by the volunteer posse. In fact, they're actually doing something like this minute, 2 of them are out there.
But yeah, that includes anything like, say last night Elizabeth had worked a full day, and right about 5 o'clock, the county just went crazy, including the kangaroo incident. And she worked an extra 4.5 hours last night. All of that 4.5 hours is already included in her pay. So.
But on Elizabeth in particular, she's our detective sergeant. And most of the time in a big law enforcement agency, the law enforcement officers work a case, they make an arrest, they turn it over to the DA, and they don't see it again. The DA and his staff and their investigators do it. On the case of the murder thing, Liz is still 100% working the case. And so all of her tasking actually comes from the DA.
And the reason for that was just because it was what it was.
Well, it's kind of like, it's such a complicated mess for someone to join
And then transfer.
here at the end of the thing, and she knows all the players. Hey, Vern, can you go back to that screen with the salary survey? So we went to these other agencies to see where they start people, and then where they are kind of at the 5-year mark, and then also the retirement plan. And so FPPA and these other ones are more competitive than what we're offering. And
What is FPPA? Excuse me.
Fremont.
Okay.
Fremont is lower than us, and Canyon, and actually Florence up here, but their staffing is terrible. How many total employees do they have at Florence right now?
4?
4 people for an agency that's like our size. They just can't hire people.
Who are they dependent on? The
Here-
state patrol? What
Here's
are
your
they-
current.
Well, yeah, state
salary
patrol sheriffs are
structure.
doing,
Fremont.
so that helps them in the
Fremont
county.
Here's your current salary structure right now.
Okay. So the sheriff's office salary is set in statute, like all the county elected officials. And then the people who have the higher pay, are also, because they have higher levels of experience. So we start them at $25 an hour. But if we let someone transfer in that has 5 years of actual law enforcement, we let them start at that place on the pay scale.
So what's keeping them here right now then? Because
Well, I
don't
hope
see
it's the
anything that would take them
morale.
out.
So I ask frequently, you know, like, how do you think the morale is? And they like working here and they like the Custer County lifestyle and not
All of them live in
Public
the
County
county.
Sheriff.
Not
Except
all
one.
of them, there's
Yeah, three.
three
I think it's-
that are not. Well, thinking now, so four now.
Oh, that's right.
And they like their job.
I think they do. And they like our community.
Well, yeah.
75% of our staff own a house in Custer County, which is we've never had that high of a home ownership thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, and so to make it competitive, is there a two-step thing we can take? Or is there
Sure.
something we can
Yep.
do to figure out
I'm
how,
willing to negotiate in.
if we can get a,
But one other tool that I have, so I have the tool of the military surplus, then another tool I have is over here in the orange, which is the grants. And so I get an email, and I'm sure you guys do, probably,
you just sent us an email looking for another grant, I hadn't had a chance to look.
that's a $7.5 million grant for wildfire,
Oh,
which is coming due. And so if you guys had a grant manager, then I would work with that person. But in the meantime, I have Neil do it, he has a history. And so if I get a notification from Brittany Peterson's office and I see something that could remotely apply to us, I say, hey, would you research this and perhaps apply for it? So I do think that next year I'll have more money in previously untapped grants coming in, which I can,
so that's a thought too. The county doesn't need 10 grant writers,
no,
or 2. You got somebody, we're looking for somebody, we're sharing stuff. Maybe there's a way to consolidate.
it would be better if it was a single person.
Yeah.
So every single grant says, what's your UEI number, which is like the social security
Well,
number for the
guy-
county.
That's the reference on
It worked pretty well for us. A couple, 3 years ago, we had a more focus on a grant, somebody watching the grants. That was when Jennifer was around. And she
Yes.
really grabbed a hold of that.
And I would never want to get into a competition, you know, like with Robin, where we both submit a grant not knowing other person
That's right,
is,
it's
and
gotta
we
have
knock
some
each other out
coordinate,
of
it's
the
gotta have, that
competition.
would be a great thing, maybe.
But we
to
already
help
did that
save
with
us
SAR.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the SAR grant, which is, it's, what's it called, P something funds? I didn't even know that was an option until she came to me like last week and said, oh, here's a grant you should apply for evacuation. So I sent it to you, Justin Robinson, who does our fire stuff, and then Neil to see if there's something, but we just couldn't pull something together with only a 2-day notice.
I think, didn't he sit through that discussion on having the traffic cop be, what do we call that? Grant where they were looking for a traffic control on the fire. Remember when Cindy was arguing with us over the fact that didn't need that money?
Oh, the evacuation?
Yeah,
No, that was John Van Dorn.
no, John Van Doren did that, but, yeah, John.
Cindy was there.
Yeah, Cindy was there, but John had a contractor that he was working with.
Ladders.
That's it,
Rich,
Yeah.
Rich and Susan.
yeah, I mean, you saw that too, didn't you?
The software proposal?
Yeah. So it's things like that, and then sharing a grant writer, not sharing, but having a county grant writer would be, somebody could keep track of it.
Well, if you bring someone in who's already experienced and has contacts, and so we get grants, and one that we recently got is called Peace Officer Mental Health. And so you can call them up and say, hey, this is what our grant, you know, they have some guidelines, and so we write an application that fits within the guidelines, well, then we say, hey, we have this case, would you let us put that in there, and then they say
And then you could
yes or
get
no.
Neil or somebody to pass that, all the things he's learned or he's done to make
Yep,
sure
yep.
whoever it is.
And he previously worked at Fountain Police Department in Kansas City and did grants for them, so he already knows these people.
Cool. All right.
But we're going the same place, we're either going to the state which is usually through DOLA, or we're going to the feds direct, and there's several.
Only if you-
But whoever I'm applying for a grant from, you guys are eligible to apply for them too. So that's why I came in, so I wanna offer help in the revenue side with grant writing and the sale of military surplus stuff. And I appreciate you guys meeting with us yesterday to sell our old cars, and then, in my opinion, make a profit on the deal to allow us to buy newer cars to get our overall fleet health better.
Right, we don't need to buy new cars, we don't have to.
So I do have a call into Dan. I don't know if we can just sole source the vehicles and sell them just to fill on. We may have to put them on auction and competitively bid it, so I'm waiting for him to come.
Okay.
Why don't you also get, while he's doing that, look into how the other counties do it, if they got, or is Phil Long only working with, he must be getting other sources, the way it sounds, or somebody like Phil Long, maybe he's working with Denver.
Well, the guy, he personally wants to buy the Deuce and a Half, just cause he likes military trucks. But he
Well, he can bid on that.
he
like
can take cars in and
Yeah.
turn them, that we can't do. But I would like to make a process that everybody, including Virginia, agrees on, so I don't have to come back and say, oh, now it's time to sell one more semi-truck tire to a local guy. If we have a local auction site, or we're using a national auction site, or, I don't wanna do like a bid in the paper, cause that's a limited,
No, and I think we have found that Purple Wave that sells it, gets it rid of it easier anyway.
Yeah,
They pay for all whoever buys it, purchases it, and they pay for all
Well, yeah,
the
they have
fees,
people
the
all
listing
over,
fees.
they are logging into the local where we get more reach that way.
we just gotta make sure we don't get into something that, because we have to compete it somehow, that gets a low bid on things, and that, you know, I mean, it could be auction houses that are down here, you know, working with people that
Yeah,
low
we
end,
want them to compete for it and give us the best price.
give us the
I
best price,
agree.
get a high price for
and,
it.
and there is an auction thing in Denver, I believe it's called roller auction. But it's like, I don't wanna get in the business where I'm towing cars to Denver
Yeah,
and it doesn't sell, or something happens and I gotta tow
we
it
gotta
back.
call them back.
Yeah.
We can't.
Oh, and then on that 3/4 ton pickup you guys asked about yesterday, they said they think they're gonna sell it in 5 weeks.
Okay.
And they would tell us
Boy, that'd
first
be
before
great.
they put it online.
Yeah. That way we have a pickup that plows.
That's a 3/4 ton.
No, that probably
You
won't
said
fit.
gas
It won't
would
fit
be
on
sold
that?
out.
It needs to be bigger. It needs to be like,
250 won't do.
you
Normally
need
they
like a
would
ton
put
and a half.
Power stroke or PS.
That's like to go on the front of
Power stroke
a
diesel.
semi or
Was that big?
a, yeah. That was a big one that he's got.
Okay.
Yeah, your dump truck would maybe do it, your
Little
little,
dump.
Well, we're gonna sell those dump trucks? Oh, yeah.
No,
he won't sell a little one,
that's worth its weight in gold, man.
other than you keep putting dents in it.
Yeah.
But, so let's say on the road grader, that's something I think we could competitively sell 365 days from now. But in the meantime, we can use it to
Sure,
benefit the
that's-
county,
Right.
Correct.
but it needs a $600 set of cutting edges for the blades.
Gotta do it.
Well, if landfill's gonna use it, then they should pay.
They'll pay for it. That's a piece of cake.
Yeah, but
And that's not a big price.
Okay.
it's a cat, so
It is,
it's a cat, so it's pretty.
and everyone that's looked at it says very well maintained. The hour count is pretty, the hour count on this new forklift is only $1,000. Yes.
Sometimes sitting is bad on them. but-
But if they had water in the fuel, they have to pull injectors and clean that out because
So-
water got to the engine.
Yeah, so that unfortunately adds cost.
Okay.
Do you guys have any, individual budget item questions?
Just pull it up, Frank.
Okay. What would you like to look at? We've got it a couple of different ways. Here's the bottom line. And we can go through it line by line if you like. Where would you like to start?
On this one right here, you say 2026 step initial, and you have 2.1 million there?
That's the current request without any raises right now.
And then what did the 12% increase, 257,000?
That is with the 257,000.
Oh, that's.
Oh, okay, okay.
That is,
Yeah, it was 1.8 something or 1.9.
From 1.938 to this.
that's this right here.
Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest increase is, Tyler, so we are hit this year with that Tyler cost, that we hadn't had previously. All the rest of it was already paid for when we were messing with it last year. So we have the Tyler cost,
Is
put
that gonna
in
be every year then? And that's gonna go up
until we
3 to
decide.
5% probably?
It's capped to begin with, and it actually is lower because we opted out of several of the modules that we were going to take, that just weren't feasible for us. So that might change in the future if
Okay.
we get technology
The modules,
so that we could like actually really use the car computers, then it doesn't make sense to get the technology and not have the software, or vice versa. So we left out the technology, or left out the software, even though we have almost the technology for right now. So next year,
Something you can do later.
hopefully both things will be in line with each other and we could step up to that, but it was just not feasible right now for money wise to get ticketing and all of that kind of stuff, printers in the cars, and
okay.
so
So
we
cost-
left that out.
Yeah.
We are stuck with Tyler, there's absolutely no way that we could go our own direction without bringing FreeCom with us, and we're past the bridge of opening our own dispatch center. And even if
Right.
you guys said, oh, hey, let's go in with Pueblo, we'd have to spend a bunch of money to buy whatever it is that they're using.
But we're good with ignoring the upgrade, is that right? The one there.
No, we tried, I had
The one that we wanted to.
I had an Omnigo representative come in because they are cheaper and everyone likes it better and it worked. I had a representative come in 2 months ago. They just aren't at the spot of being able, Tyler is not willing to play well with others. He said that at some time in the near future, he's hoping to be able to have it so that we could have Omnigo, dispatch could have Tyler, and the two would talk. But right now, he's making those connections with the Tyler people, and he doesn't have it yet. So we tried to.
And we still have to pay for the Omnigo license because we have 5 years of our arrest reports in there and they won't merge
Can't
into
lose
Tyler. So we
Yeah,
just
is that
have,
right?
we used to have a license for every employee and now we just have like one for Paula.
We have three now,
Three.
so I knocked that down to the bare minimum. We just got the invoice for that, so, and that's something that in future years we can look at again too. It's just that with the homicide trial going on, we cannot take the chance of losing stuff. All of our evidence is in
In the
the
old
old system.
system.
So let's talk just a little bit about the dispatch, because Fremont's E911 has made a little bit of a threat. And I've got something from Brandon Jackson saying they'll kick us out if we don't join. They can't do that. I've flipped that over to Dan Slater. Dan Slater's looked at our original FreeCom IGA. They can't kick us out of the CRCA. If we wanted to move, Buck and I talked a little bit about if the people here really want us to have our own dispatch, then vote for a 2.5 to 3 mil tax increase on their property taxes and pay for a dispatch authority that would be publicly funded with property taxes. County would still chip in a bunch, some for you guys, and through emergency services, we give up a mil out of emergency services. We get all of the E911 money then, so that could go funded. But, so it's something that I'm looking into, what are our options? Because we don't see any reason to join the two E911 authorities. Because as soon as we do that, we're done, we're lost, and we will never have another option of coming back.
And one of the things that we struggled with when we ran it ourselves was staffing.
Unknown caller.
And so now I have to have,
Well, it wouldn't be on you, it'd be on this new basic special taxing district.
yeah, so
They'd be
they
a
would have a
board,
hard
they
time.
would have to find the
I think they'd have
people.
a hard time finding people.
Would they be
So-
county employees?
State Patrol has a
No.
dispatch center in Pueblo that serves a fourth of the state. Pueblo City has one, Pueblo County has one, and the Interagency Fire Center is there. then Fremont County, Orfano, and Chaffey all have them, and so there's a very small group of people to try to recruit from.
Yeah,
Well, we'd have to make that mill levy high enough to pay good enough
cover all
wages
the
to.
dollars, to run it, that's, what is that, 6 people, no, didn't man?
Probably
Oh.
5 or 6. What I'd still do though, is I wouldn't run night shift.
You have to have night shift, you have to
We
have
do that,
oh,
we do it down
okay.
to Pueblo. Pueblo take care of from midnight to 6. You know, the time when we have very few calls. Build a building, go out to maybe Brittany Pedersen and go, we need $1.5 million to build a new dispatch center with living quarters above it, so maybe we can offer that as a
And I like
caveat to.
as we're trying to get a courtroom and other things to be helped out,
Don't need a courtroom.
yeah,
The,
there you go.
the usual complaint that I hear about us not having our own dispatch and the E911 is generally more of an education to the public issue than it is really a big concern. So,
I get a lot of people that tell me I wish we had our own dispatch center.
They tell you they
and a
want
lot
back
of
up
that, a lot of that is because if we had our GIS figured out, then they wouldn't be hearing
So I'm
about.
working on that front. I'm working on the technology front, both of those. I'm walking through John with that almost daily.
there. And John is doing an incredible job for us, so.
Yeah, it is.
Because that's generally the concern with the dispatch side, when people are like, people just don't even know, they don't know where Cable is, and they don't know what the airport is, and they don't know what, and, you know,
It
if,
was worse some time ago, but they still have problems. It was worse when we really got started, they had no clue, and they wouldn't bother.
Oh, it's better than it was, but it's not 100%. On the dispatch terminal thing, for 170,000, could the 911 authority pay for that?
That is all on them. I had Dan read through the contract. We don't owe any more future. Whatever was made as a handshake, didn't happen. It's not written down, didn't happen, in my mind. So this is the thing that I'm talking about. We got asked when we did the court, when we did the jail tour, it was $150,000. They were gonna outfit pod 6, and then they were gonna have to redo it in 5 years. Now she's saying she wants 170,000, and we need to redo all of them this year. That's what she just said.
Yeah.
The story keeps changing, and I have not an invoice on what it actually costs. Not written down? I can't.
We built that last pod for less than $30,000.
And the pod was not supposed to be a dispatch pod. The pod was supposed to go to the secretary. That's what that pod was originally set up for, so. If they need, our call volume hasn't gone up, theirs has. So make DeVecchio, make some of the others entities.
He's retiring in July.
That's a good question,
well,
though.
volume has gone up.
What, you know, lately I've seen a
7
lot
to
more
10%.
calls up there. Do
Yeah.
you think the calls are gonna go up a lot?
I do. And we take calls that other places wouldn't do. You know, lost dog or something, and.
No, cows are out.
Yeah.
But that
Kangaroo,
That's our number one
kangaroo.
call.
Kangaroos are out.
One of the problems when I used to call into Freecom quite a bit was that if you give a now name for a road, they have under number of county road,
That's not a
and they
problem
don't
anymore.
They got that
crisscross.
fixed.
They got
Yeah.
that
Take care of it. That was a pain.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Not hard to put them together.
You know, I want to stress that we've always supplied both the name and the number. There's a training issue down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sound a little bit hot about it because I did GIS for 7 years, but it's been a training issue since day one.
It's true,
We've
they,
always given them the data.
Yeah.
But they've got that fixed now. They pretty much dispatch both to us now, or if the deputies like, where's Bighorn, they can tell you, so.
Yeah, good.
Do you wanna go back to that revenue page?
This page,
No, the spreadsheet one,
which one are we talking about? This one?
No, the,
He's talking about the bar graph, or
bar
the-
graph right there.
This one here?
that one.
I don't have revenue in here, these are expenses.
Okay, I thought I saw one that was revenue and it said like grants.
Yeah, so that's embedded in this page
Okay,
here.
okay.
Yeah,
So if we scroll up to, each department has a breakout of all their revenue. For instance, here is your revenue for, admin, and you're projecting $262,000 worth of revenue for admin. You are projecting 98,000 for admin, or excuse me, for patrol revenue, and 77,000 for detention revenue. It's important to look at these numbers too, and I've actually done this with the entire budget all the way across the board. The budget's always high, and the actual revenue is always low on the revenue side. So it's important to look at what's actually coming in. But this is the revenue sheet for, I can show you the revenue sheet for each department in the SO.
All right, well, DRMO is the one where I can make the biggest impact.
And on
That's this one right here.
expenses, like I was saying, it's Tyler. We added in the new cost sharing with communications, with the phones. We have, it's also sort of a Tyler thing, but not. Tyler had promised us that we were going to have stop data. We have done everything we can for free with Cameron 4. Actually even going into the Tyler software and adjusting it, and it's still not working correctly. And that is a mandate from the state, so we are gonna have to go to a third party to start doing our stop data. So there was some expense there. I did take away, any of our line items that were, that we had an excess in this year that I thought, was probably going to be the same next year. I did decrease those. I mean, it's nominal, but we took the cuts, that I thought that we could. But mainly it's communications, data, software, those kind of things. I added a little bit, we have a little bit in uniforms. Everybody's 3 years into uniforms now, we'll be going into 4 years into uniforms. So that's a long time for a pair of pants to last. So I added a little bit in uniforms, but most of it is, like last year, unfunded mandates, things that they're requiring us to have.
Were there specific things you guys wanted to look at? Or do you, would you like this, what format do you guys want to see this all?
So you're good with that?
Okay.
Oh, and I see the fuel line down there, so that's another one of our big things. But we switched, by the end of this new auto transaction, more than half our fleet will be V6s. In fact, we only have like 2 V8s, so surely that will help us in the long run.
It will.
especially at night.
And I think I added in on utilities because utilities line, did I increase utility? I guess we didn't increase utility.
The Silverado pickups for those V8s?
I'm sorry?
Or is the Silverado pickups V8s?
The 2 Silverados are V8 and the Tahoes.
And the Tahoe, so you have 6 that are still V8s then.
And then everything else is V6, including the school resource
Yeah,
officer.
the Ranger.
And then one of the vehicles that you guys agreed to buy yesterday is a Ford Fusion. And so that would be ideal for like trips to Denver, because then it gets super good gas mileage.
Awesome.
I was trying to find that, salary survey, but I never got it.
Okay, You have it now?
I have that displayed here.
okay, good.
It's right here. And I crunched the numbers on that, if you wanted to see them.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so this is the salary survey that was conducted, I guess, by Ann Lawachi. And I plugged the numbers in here. in this location right there. The average starting salary, according to that salary survey, is 26,600, which I guess we start out at 25 or 26. The average 5-year salary is 33, and our current averages across the board, regardless of experience, is 2972. So that was just a fast and dirty calculation based off of that spreadsheet.
That's all based upon, the 2972 is based upon ours?
Yes, the 2972 is based on ours,
Okay.
right here.
And that's from detentions down? It doesn't
Yes.
include?
That doesn't include the office staff.
And then because last year you guys did a COLA for all the employees, are you considering doing the same thing this year?
No, I'm considering not for anybody that already got a raise and nobody that's a department head. That's a salary department head. I don't, because, if we pull up our mill levy and we float it all the way to the top, then if valuations go down, I have no way to float mill levies up to bring in more money. We're already at the max, and I can't take it down if valuations go down. So I don't wanna ramp it all the way to the top and take the max I can, because then I have no room to move it up if valuations go down. And I'm not saying they are, but if all of a sudden we hit recession, our assessed values will go down. Or we have a fire that wipes out Rosita.
Yeah, that's exactly the.
Well, our valuations will probably drop that $70 million. And then we'll be looking at a budget of half of what we're at now.
And I can't give you firm data right now, but across the board, we're seeing a downward trend in tax revenue, permits and fees. We're seeing a downward trend for the last 3 years.
17%, somewhere in there.
We've got, I couldn't give you the exact numbers. I think we're about down 9 or 10% over the last 3 years. So nothing's going up except property values, which, as you just mentioned, but everything is going down. So I've looked at all the revenue throughout
All the rest of
entire-
the revenues.
all the
are
rest of
going
the
down.
revenues. I've looked at it across the board. I'll have a full spreadsheet and bar graph for you when we get our next budget hearing. But I stayed up late last night and worked on all that. It's interesting.
So we just about hit $5 million in payroll now a year. Across the board, across everybody. And then next year, 6 elected officials are gonna go up about $10,000–15,000 a piece. So that'll add a couple $100,000 to the general line pretty easy.
So our tax revenues running 8 million, is that what it is right now?
You mean property taxes?
Property taxes gets us
I'm
2.3 million
Right now, I'm not talking about, I'm talking
2.2.
about the revenue side of the county. The salaries are paid out of what? They're paid out of that.
They're paid they're both out of county funds and out of grant revenue.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but and the point I'm trying to make is, we got about $7 million of real dollars, and there's, what percent of that's wages? It's,
Wages is, as he said, almost $5 million
so it's,
per
so
year.
there you are
And
at lion's share.
when you look at the property tax valuations and the income from property tax, we are only going to bring in about $3 million next year in property taxes.
So that's why we gotta figure out a way, we gotta keep people paid, and then we gotta absolutely pay for the critical resources. You're critical, the road and bridge is critical, and then communications kinds of things. And then so everything else, we have to start rethinking, we may have to, which means we'd have to lay off some of the grant people, for sure.
I say bring in a grant person and bring more.
Well, that's what we
Yeah.
that's what we wanna hopefully do, and then I think the grants, as soon as this federal stuff gets straightened out, where the recession really is, if there's no recession, that they just keep wanting to scare people right now, so that's kind of holding things stable or in the flux. That's why if we can work out something where, nobody's gonna get a COLA, well, that's fine, but then what can we do to make sure people have enough money to stay here? So that's why I said, let's see what we can do to offset it maybe getting it, and we got an X of a budget that we have, we gotta be flexible, we can give an internal, any department, if we can find the money to get the right people a pay increase to keep. And that you guys have to make a hard choice rather than a blanket, let's hit everybody, let's see who, we're the ones that making sure people understand that they're not being discriminated against, it's based on, requirement, merit. So let's see what kind of.
So a $5 raise roughly would be $200,000. So a $250 raise would be roughly $100,000.
Yeah.
What if I could bring that military surplus line then extra $100,000 over?
You have to move the money.
To move that other money into it, that,
Right, you have to move money.
it gives us other money to deal with, it could change. That would help. You bet on the come doing that, but then you'd have to be faced with a mid-year, what do you do with an employee, which is life, I mean, nothing's guaranteed.
Well, then the DRMO stuff becomes like grant money. If the
Yeah.
grants go away, does the money's gone essentially, because the county doesn't bring in enough to
Yeah,
compensate
that's
for the grant program.
Right,
Yeah.
so our grant funded people is the court security guy, and I think that's stable. And then the school resource officer and a community service deputy, but those are gone in 3
We
years.
getting any money from
And
the
so we have
school
to
for that?
fight hard to.
We do,
get
we get,
removed.
15,000.
yeah, roughly there. Yeah, so we do get something from the school,
That's the way we gotta put it.
probably not as much as we should, since they up their mill levies to the max.
Yeah, they took advantage, they didn't give us a dang.
And we have a full-time person that's dedicated that's
And they didn't
there.
help us with
Paying
the Round Mountain problem.
Yeah,
$54,000.
That's this number.
they should be paying 3/4 of it, like
Yeah,
CSU does, for
yeah,
extension
they
version,
should,
and we pay the quarter.
yeah. I think that would help, Rich. I mean,
3/4 of the vehicle.
take a risk on it. Let's
We
see
got
what
an
happens.
increase from them last year, and with all the new people over there, we could go to them again and ask.
Yeah,
That would be a good way to do it. Helps. Helps a bunch.
But I don't think it's ever gonna get though to the, sorry, I don't have the salary.
Well, hopefully by having a low crime county, it increases the property value.
Well, then-
High crime.
and I think it
will.
should.
It
Yeah.
will.
Our SRO is at 56,000, and we're getting 15.
And even for 56,000 plus insurance is gonna be essentially, 65,000. Plus benefits is gonna push it into 75,000.
That means the school's gonna have
So
to pay.
several of the higher experienced guys are retired, and they actually, I think 3 or 4 people don't take insurance from the county, they have it with their other.
That's not a bad idea, though. We can go over there and strong arm the new superintendent and have a discussion with Reggie.
That'd be the board, yeah, the board we need to have a conversation with.
Because it's not fair. And they're essential.
Well, I don't think there's any school that's our size that has a full-time SRO, and then certainly not one that has almost a second backup person almost every single school day.
Yeah,
That's right. So that would be something we can do. And that brings it, and you can spread that money across. And that would be a great way to do it. Okay?
One other thing is the posse survives kind of on donations, and they have a rolling balance. And so in the past, we had combined, like we had bought stuff out of this budget to support the posse, but I'm focused real hard on only spending the posse money on the posse.
Sure.
So they have a balance, so we're buying them the new shipment ammo, is just for their guys.
Well, that's a good thing, but also the sheriff, you get a lot of people care. You guys are making a difference, they see it, and then they wanna make donations. Maybe that's another thing to concentrate on.
well, I think the other thing too is, going through that pill Title III, if we get more,
Yeah.
and I told Justin Robinson, if I find out we get more, I said, let's get together at least quarterly, and let's make a plan for search and rescue.
Yeah.
Since we have posse that go on federal grounds, figure out something that we can do there, whether it's training, we'll
Yeah.
look into seeing what we can do there.
Sure.
And then the rest of it can go to wildfire mitigation stuff, so.
Well, that's fine, that getting trained is part of that.
Right.
And that helps you spend some of the training money on waste vehicles.
We have approximately $40,000 worth in the posse fund right now.
Okay.
They have allocated funds of 40,000.
And in the past, we didn't buy bulletproof vests for the posse, and we do buy, so every guy there has a vest, and then now the ammo is the next biggest thing that we're looking at, making sure it comes out of that donation line.
Yeah, people would really donate that. They jump on that.
So posse donations this year, we're sitting around 4,000. Last year, we received 12, and the year before that, we received 15. So, yeah, depending on community involvement, we get a good amount of money for the posse.
It's important for you to point out that because the federal grants are down and other things are down, it's important for the people to know their security. They need to grab a hold of some of the help and donate stuff back into it. Like, point out, the vests were driven to us at one point, and time for, now they're all outdated, aren't they?
I know, that's
We're
the thing, they're
getting-
only good for 5 years.
Yep, we're getting close on a few of those, and we also have brought in 4 people that we are going to have to outfit with vests that one, I had to buy one this year for.
Because
'Cause
we've
there
just
was
been
just not-
recycling the vests. that
Yeah,
fit
there was
us.
nothing that would fit him,
As it did.
but
Big,
next,
bigger than Vernon.
about burn size, yeah. Next year, I have 3 that I have to buy, and that's not even looking at the others that are gonna expire. I think we're okay next year, actually, for the expiring ones,
Good.
but
But right now, we have the bulletproof vest partnership, and they pay half, up to a certain cap of the vest that we're buying.
Who's that with? The grant deal.
Is that on there, bulletproof vest?
Yes, it is. So we'll go down to that.
I have it on my calendar, you apply for it every spring.
Is in their uniform? Yeah,
What is the name of it?
BVPI.
Be under revenue, wouldn't it?
should be.
They
Well, there
don't
should be
donate
an
money to us,
expense
do they?
too.
Do what?
They don't donate money to us, do they?
Like, we buy the vest and then send them the invoice, and then they send us half.
Half back.
I wonder if you put it under uniforms.
That's fine.
Or safety.
That would be the wrong
Do you know where you
place.
put
safety
it?
equipment.
Oh, safety equipment, excuse me.
There it is up
There
there,
it is, right there.
10 grand, whatever.
And then I think there's a safety equipment in the sheriff's office, and the admin as well.
But the next big ticket item that we could look at, maybe as soon as January 1st, is trying to switch to a different body camera company. And the one we're using now is called Axon, but it used to be called Taser. And so they have their own little thing where all their stuff works together to try to keep you from going to another company. But we pay to store this stuff on the cloud, and then our internet has been so bad that we've lost stuff. So the new one, it would be stored on the camera, and then John would make us a server, and we download it in 2
Yeah, you're
places,
talking
and then we're not paying. And I wanna say, is it like $35,000?
33.
33,000 for 1 year of video storage.
Well, I think the way to play it is, you have the authority to move your money, we'll give it to you if it comes in during the course of the year, so you can increase it appropriately with these ideas. Because there's no way there's a number out there that we can say you can do, because we're not gonna give anybody anything like that. I think you guys are seeing a lot better than most of them, if we can do that.
Oh, you're right, 36. Well, the average cost is 32. Is that
But
going
it goes
this
up every
year?
year, they raise the price every year.
Okay.
price of the new.
But that's it's a real questionable move, so there, if we can, it was 26,000, 23,000. But then we have to look at a program for the
Other side things
tasers.
that you do.
Yeah, because Axon has all
Everything
of
tied
it,
together.
everything tied together, so it's evidence, tasers, and body camera. So then if we bring evidence storage in-house, then we don't have the same way to share evidence that we do in the cloud on evidence.com. So we have to come up with a system for that. We have to come up with a system for how we're doing we will have no signal devices anymore. So when you pull your gun, the body camera comes on. That's all Axon stuff, so it's.
The other thing that's important is the public needs to understand, you build up a force that's very qualified. I don't know that they know there's a Texas Ranger in here, or
He's worked 100 homicide cases in his career. That's unheard of in Colorado.
and the other expertise that you have, and they have to understand they don't work for free. And so it's time to
Just educate.
educate everybody and say,
Yeah,
get the
did you know?
donations coming. I think a lot of people have done that. And we'll help with the PIO stuff as well. Even you ought to have some events where you're inviting them out to shoot at a dummy with a vest on. You know, something to see.
No, you guys
We're
shot one the other day.
doing firearm safety classes for free to churches,
Yeah,
and then
And that's
we
something
do
else.
concealed weapon classes, and those are popular.
And the fire department,
And we're doing the whole fire department.
and all the Leosa people, yeah.
and the fact they need to know there are other things where you actually interdicted and intercepted some illegal aliens doing X, and guys speeding out, wackos speeding past it at 110 miles an hour. Not everybody's heard the story. They just said, man, I had to stop and I had no idea what was going on. Somebody was pointing a flashlight, but they were guns. You know?
The other thing is, when I'm talking to people.
He saw it yesterday.
I know.
What's that?
He saw it.
Oh, yeah, I was just coming out doing the sandwich. But, letting them know that if they see any road and bridge vehicle, that they have a radio, and they are, they're usually first on site of an accident or anything. But if you have an emergency, if there's a pickup going by or a motor grader, he has a radio. So you have comms, even though your phone doesn't.
That's a good point to make too, so people understand there are other people watching that are helping make up the difference for this camp property.
But they go, wow, that's good to know, because Rosita, we don't have any service. You get down by Eagles Springs,
The whole San Isabel thing doesn't.
oh, San Isabel, yeah, the radio doesn't work.
Yeah, we didn't even have radios, yeah.
I did call Justin today, and he answered me, I go, where are you at? He goes, I'm down at San Isabel Lake. I go, really? You answered your.
Also, we want to keep in mind the bottom line, whatever budget line we lock in on, we have to certify it, and when do we have to turn it in, and then we'll.
We need to publish a preliminary budget by August 15th and then approve it by,
December 15th.
thank you.
Right. So between now and then, we can change things, and on that date, even if we certify it, here it is, now it's set, and next year we're enrolled. Things change in a year, and we can move our own money around, that's for sure. We've got funds that are not fenced, so to speak.
So our budget, we're in good shape finishing the year out with our existing budget. However, because it's October 1st, I can start selling
Yeah.
stuff over there. Do you want me to wait till January 1st to keep it all on that? Or if I sell it now, can we
We
run
need to
that
sell it
money
now
in?
and roll it over.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I can
Get rid of the
track
back.
that pretty easily.
Okay,
I've already actually set up the codes in here
okay.
to track any sales revenue in and then anything we expend out, so.
Yeah, get it sold and get the money.
Yeah,
I just need to know, I'll just be doing a budget resolution at the end of the year where they accept the money that we from the extra sales.
So we know what we ended up with. And then what you can roll over, we gotta know what we start the year with.
and a lot of the construction companies and stuff like that actually do a lot of their buying in the winter so they can get it maintained up to speed on their equipment for the next season. So they use the winter time to do that.
And then it's up to you, I can see a way to do it too, you gotta pump juice into your team. And have them understand everything they do is critical, and everything they do, they need to have pride in, because they're bringing in money every day that they're out there, and people see them doing it. That's where you go. As opposed to a lot of people, I've never seen the sheriff out there, but they've been more visible, especially with the deputies roll on.
Well, we have the posse.
And when you're gonna be putting somebody out there with Vince and his crew and stopping these goofballs,
Those
Oh,
guys.
so on that.
and
truck
that
7,
revenue is something to bring in too.
We're,
with
we're
this.
gonna give that truck 7 to Road and Bridge, and then we'll leave the red and blue lights on it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we'll also leave the radar gun in it, so he can be, and just flip the thing on, and then the beam goes out, everyone's aware it could go slow down, because they know it's.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so let's see where we ended up moving things around, and then,
What would you like to see, sir?
just.
Oh, I'm sorry, were you asking something?
Yeah, just wanted to know where we stand now, if what we can do is possible, what do we think you can start the year?
Well, as it stands right now, we're looking at a 13.28% increase there.
And that's to pay
I
for-
wouldn't know, what's that?
That's to pay for the software.
That's just the increases in the budget lines.
Without,
That does not include any raises or
Okay.
anything, that's just what was presented to me. I do not know where, I can't ever say where to cut or where to adjust, I don't have that knowledge base, but I just report the numbers here. Excuse me. If you wanted to go, if it was desirable to go line by line, we can do that, and I can make notes. I don't know where you would all like to go from here.
Well, let's just start at the bottom line, the screen you're on, and tell us
Okay?
what can you give us, and then let us try to figure out where to sprinkle the money into.
Yeah, let's do that. Where we are, we.
So, according to these numbers, we're expecting a revenue of 438,000 with an expense of 2.18 million. And, which basically means that the county will be paying, out of the general fund, 1.8 million for the sheriff's office. Anything that can increase this bottom line revenue, hate the PDFs in the web browser. Anything that can increase that bottom line revenue would help offset the costs.
You got until the end of the year to do that, now,
Well,
some of them.
you're talking about DRMO
So
cells to roll over.
The other thing that
can do
we
that.
haven't added into this is the health insurance increasing. And
Yeah.
then depending on what staff didn't take it when they came on that go, oh, now I wanna take it, or, right? Or they had a kid, or whatever the fact may be.
Or I don't need it in work, my
Right.
spouse is insured.
So that number is still gonna fluctuate in all three
Right.
of those. So that 257 is either gonna go, most likely is gonna go up, it's not gonna go down. Health insurance rates went up 8%, so
How
Yeah.
much percent?
8%.
Eight.
Yeah,
well, I think we're,
Yeah, that was a little shocking, I was seeing.
So of that,
What are you looking for?
the
aren't
257
we under,
increase,
we're pretty far down on insurance, aren't we, on
Let me pull that up. All right.
we just don't have the percent.
So insurance in the admin line is right now at 20,000 on a $19,000 budget. And if we go down to patrol, we are looking at 30,000 on a $26,000 budget. And if we go to detentions, detentions. We are looking at, we're looking at 489 on a $1,200 budget. So we're actually a little bit over budget.
Where's that on?
Not, this is insurance for detentions. They're fine in detentions.
Okay.
In patrol, we are sitting at $30,000 on a $26,000 budget. And in admin, we are looking at $20,000 right now on a $19,000 budget, so that's,
5,000.
Yeah,
By the end of the year, we'll probably be about $5,000 over budget on that line.
Okay. Where are the people in this chart that are real?
So everybody there is patrol.
In blue, are they all legit?
Yeah, so everyone is patrol except me, Susan, Paula, Sergeant Dickinson, Aaron McCarthy, and Washi.
Okay. So you got 9 posse volunteers, you got 18,
To a total of 25.
total of 25, plus, okay, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
So we had a prisoner of ours in the Fremont jail who got sick and had to be hospitalized for 3 days. So the posse went down and guarded him around the clock for free. And we would have had to take a deputy off the street and pay him overtime to do that, so the posse saves our bacon a lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
What about the figure that we had for Pueblo County that we owed, is that in there?
No, hopefully, that's why,
don't remind.
that's why when Brad Ballsy goes,
It doesn't
well, they
go
wanna
away,
pay me,
though.
and I was like, God, we already owe them $98,000.
Is it 85?
You're doing it for free.
Don't rock that boat.
Is it 85, is that what I remember?
It's like 87 or 98, it's a
Okay.
lot,
I just wondered, sorry,
but,
it doesn't go away.
right, right.
And then our jail is gonna cost us more next year because of court, correct?
Not next year, it'll go up the year after.
You know, another
We're good
thing-
for next year
We're
yet.
good.
For what?
We're good for next year yet,
In what
in
category?
jail,
Jail.
custody.
Yeah,
It's
we're,
not 2
we're good
years.
through next year.
Through
And then
next year,
the current sheriff, Alan Cooper, is not running again, so then the new sheriff, we'd have to go down and make a deal with.
Oh, I heard he was running again.
Can we send Vernon, he's a big guy.
There's,
There is a
the
no.
under sheriff is running.
Thought, well, who's the crook, who's not? Who's somebody down there. One thing we gotta keep in mind, if worse comes to worse, what would we give up to fund the essential work that has to be done? Other discretionary stuff,
That's what,
that we would have to cancel.
Well, you get rid of the waste diversion center, but
Yeah.
if we wouldn't have had it, we'd have been transferring everybody's crap out of here last year,
Right, and it
Yeah.
costs more,
right?
and that's, see, that's,
Well, yeah.
that's something the public has
So
to see.
we may have to up our landfill fees,
Yeah,
right? So that would
yeah,
I think we
divide,
should
that
probably,
would cushion some of that divide.
it's been
Maybe
a
we-
while, I'd say that's.
maybe we separate people that don't live here out and make them pay. 'Cause
We probably need to do that, but we need to do an actual receipting note too.
yeah, we
I
are,
talked to him today about
Okay.
other counties do that,
Traffic
unless
fines are low.
they're funded
What?
totally.
Our traffic fines are low, I don't think they've been raised in like 20 years.
No, we could do some of
You
that.
need to do that, and,
that,
that's just kind of
Yeah. Thank you.
for the delivery.
Yeah.
Some of the other things that are on the sheriff revenue is, state mandated fees for like doing civil service paperwork. And we have to charge, you can't give them a discount,
It's like,
charge them more.
it's like fees for the court request.
Yeah.
Gotta charge.
This is your revenue line for admin, the revenue sheet.
We were gonna change fees on, or we were gonna add a fee for dogs. So we were gonna come before you guys to do that.
For what?
For dogs.
Tall and down to Fremont.
For if we pick up a dog, to get, basically get your dog out of jail fee.
Oh,
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
good idea.
If I could bring attention
I know
to,
what Warfino does.
Well, a lot of people will have animal control and we don't have animal control, so, since we don't have animal control, we could we've been talking about doing a fee on that. We're also offering a way to get out of that fee because we're putting out the ID tags. I don't know if you guys have seen those. We're paying to have ID tags printed. Any event that we're at, we're giving away an ID tag for free. It has a number on it. We talk to the person there in person, write down all the dog's information. So if the dog has the tag on its collar, we see it has one of our tags, it's dog number 38. Deputy can even call while they're standing out there with dog number 38. And, or they can look it up also in
Great
Frontline
idea.
and see whose dog it is. That takes much less time and keeps us from having to go down to Fremont County to bring the dog
So,
down
which
there.
tag must have to say something like, who they call.
It does, it has
So
our
it's
front
call
Yeah,
them,
it's just us, yeah.
right, animal control.
Yeah,
Our
it's our,
dog
it's
tag
our
has
badge.
Our phone number on it, so they can call, so maybe
Our
he sees
dog.
that, call us direct.
Our dog tags all have our name and address. and phone
I
number.
got a
Well,
question on
most
that.
people don't have them, so we have these dogs that,
Yeah, so you're trying to hold
Silver
their
Cliff,
hands.
Westcliff, is that based off the population or land mass, or what is it? The difference between the two?
Yes.
What they're willing to pay.
so I believe the sheriff in the past went to them and said, hey, I wanna hire another deputy and split the cost among the two towns based on.
You know what, that's
the calls
something
for
I
service
just
and
thought too, we ought to jack that price up for support the boat tax.
Well, yeah, but I was just wondering why the difference is it population?
I think it's calls for service, how many calls can
How
you?
many calls?
Well, Westcliff brings in
Order
millions,
of magnitude.
Yeah,
way more tax dollars too.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering, how is that based, is it based on?
Now, I
Even
will
though the
bring your
land
attention
mass-
that they seem to be underpaying you about $5,000 each year. So
We'll get it.
consistently,
Oh, yeah.
they're not paying you as much as they say that they are.
Are you,
1,000.
going out to
650.
Silver Cliff more often than you are in the streets of Westland?
No, we're in West Cliff.
I would say, yeah, just density, right?
We go to Silver Cliff a lot too.
Yeah,
You see, but your mileage is more fooling around with Silver Cliff.
Yeah, they're scattered out. Oh, weird. Funny sound. Okay. It just seemed to be low. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, $1,000 out on West Cliff is another $1,000. So
Yeah.
$10, or 10 cents across.
Yeah, you Swiss cheese in little bits, it adds up.
Well, Silver Cliff just paid to get a parking ticket computer and printer. So our number of parking tickets on Silver Cliff will go up a lot. And we
Yeah.
actually have it ready to go this month. And their fines for like fire lane or handicap is $300 per ticket.
so if that goes up for them, we could address
Sure.
for us, because it is still costing us unless the posse and other people get on board with doing that, because you don't have to be certified to do that ticket, it's a
Yeah.
civil ticket.
That's one way to skin a cat.
We saved money by not buying a new canine. When the canine officer left, we
Gave up on that.
spent about 2.5 months trying to figure out what we were gonna do with that, and,
Did that look promising?
it looks
Looks really
really good, yeah. She's a trooper. She hasn't done a lot of actual interdiction work yet, but she seems to be happy and fine with her new environment. So
Good.
we just still have to find out if she's gonna work, but I think
Oh, did
she's
you get a
gonna be
new
fine.
dog?
No,
You got a
no, I
new
said we
dog
didn't
handler.
get a new dog, we
Handler,
got a new
okay,
handler.
okay.
People.
Confused, sorry.
Yeah, I
So
know.
we saved about $9,000 there, keeping her and not getting a new dog, and we are gonna have to spend a little bit in training, but not as much as we would have to get a new dog.
Let me go down to canine. I'd like to do the same thing that I did with the posse for the canine, to see if we have any extra funds in the canine donations line.
That have dropped out into the cash reserves,
Yeah.
instead of rolling.
Good idea.
I can't really tell from this report. I'll do a deep dive on that and give you a firm number.
So if we gave them $1 an hour increase, what did you say that did to you?
$250 an hour is $100,000, so $1 an hour would be less than 50 grand.
There's something to work with there.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
At least there's something this
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So
18 times 2,000.
36,000, 2,038.
37,000, so with taxes about 50. Yeah.
Mhm. We hit every button, didn't we?
pretty much.
So I think the military surplus is my top opportunity, and then writing grants is my second best, and then my
Raising
third best
fees.
is raising the fees and the ticket prices.
Yeah, we
And-
fill in landfill.
Yeah. So let's look at that, and it may work out that way, 50K. And then look at the middle of the year. I mean, there's no thing that says you can't do it in the middle of the year if something breaks loose, grant wise or whatever. And I think we're gonna do it sooner than later, when the feds break loose. And this nonsense they're playing now is gonna quit, and they're gonna.
Yeah, you
I
capture,
do think the Trump administration has been a little more generous with law enforcement grants than in the past.
They have. Yeah, I
Don't
don't
we
think,
also, don't we have $110,000 law enforcement salary grant for, I think it's a COPS 25? So that's part of that, that is part of that. So that's nice. That helps offset things.
Yeah, so it's 300,000 over 3 years,
Gotcha,
300 and some change.
gotcha, okay.
But like one thing I didn't plan on is it didn't include the police car, so then that was, another expense is getting a police car for the guy.
but then we're gonna get another, something out of Florida soon.
But maybe
We're gonna
that's
have to
what
wait
I'll-
and see as things play
Yeah,
out.
every summer we'll go to Florida, buy some cop cars and sell ours in Colorado.
I volunteered to do the transport on those. I'll even go down and check them out for you.
I asked my wife, I said, hey, do you want to go on vacation to Orlando? And she's like, yeah. I said, well, we're gonna be driving some cars, and she's like, no.
Catch to this, huh?
Yeah, see, I used to do so much traveling, that would have been a nice
That's probably
vacation.
that's a
2,000
long drive,
mile
guys. I
drive.
went down for a graduation in Orlando.
We
from
paid a
here.
shipping company to do this.
Yeah,
I've done it, I love it. I love that drive, it's great.
All right, anything else we need to do right now? We know what we're doing forward
good.
for now.
So we have another meeting next week on Monday, and what do I need to bring to that?
So that one, we're gonna talk about wage increases, just so all elected officials are all on the same
Same
page.
sheet of music, so we
Yeah.
know what's happening and why. Because everybody likes to think everybody's the same and they're not.
Cause my guess is when we're done, we're gonna be $1 million over revenue, expenses to revenue. So how are we gonna knock out $1 million worth of expenses?
And you're not.
Cause we can't go into cash reserves,
Three
'cause
colors
that
on
only
my
works
light.
for about 4 years.
Then we're out of money.
Then we're done, we're done.
Unless there's
If you wanna see
emergency.
something scary, I'll pull this one up here.
But you gotta go in and then come up with what you're gonna mitigate it, and then, so everybody understands.
We're supposed to speed read that?
Yes,
Okay.
Well,
yep, and
You're
there'll
just
be a
looking at
test.
the two lines.
Like, Vernon's looking at me, so every time I look at the screen, he makes it a little bit smaller. It's like,
Well, I'm sorry, I cannot make this screen bigger, but right now, that's our,
$500,000 difference right
Yeah.
now.
500,
And we don't have everybody's budgets in there yet.
all right.
I have everyone's except public health, and I'm using last year's numbers.
We haven't adjusted the mill levies on that.
I have.
No, that is.
So that is, that's
what
after we
adjusted
did
to the
the
top.
I thought we,
So
So we're in bad
it
shape.
is everybody all the way down the line.
So what's the bottom line number for the county, $1 million?
So right now, it's so when we did the draft budget last year, I knocked $900,000 from October 15th to December 15th. Now, didn't actually end up being 900,000 because we're gonna have to put some money back in there because our insurance numbers didn't end up being correct. But our bottom line is that we've got to be, our expenses have to be less than our revenue, or we're pulling out of cash reserves.
So, and remember, it is important, this does not include any wages increases, it does
No.
not include
Health
any
insurance
health
reduces.
insurance. So,
now maybe known here pretty soon.
And we're working on that.
2 months. It's frustrating that open enrollment actually ends long after our budget
It
is
is,
due.
Yeah,
Yeah, but, well, draft budget,
That's why we don't really, the budget's not real until when we.
December 15th.
December the 15th,
yeah.
so we'll know a lot more by then.
And there's nothing that says we can't do budget amendments later on.
That's true.
We did that all this year, so.
Yeah, it's not that.
I mean, there's a school of thought that says you make this number balance with this number for the budget itself, and then you add anything extra.
Just add what you
Budget
need,
amendment.
yeah.
Yeah,
most counties are under. Their expenses are under their revenue.
and most counties have a lot more resources, as we looked at for Huerfano, because they sit right there on the interstate.
Interstate,
They get
making
so
lots of
much
sales
taxes
tax.
from that.
Oh, yeah, it's a commuting,
They bring in the same amount of revenue for their property values, but they bring in so much tax revenue that it jumps them into
we
another.
just need
Well,
verification.
The El Paso County Sheriff has the biggest operation and the biggest jail. And so his medical budget for medicine in the jail is bigger than our budget for the whole shebang. So
Wow.
I sent it over, he's like, oh, I spend just that much on drugs for the prisoners.
Yeah.
But we live in the center of the universe, it's the most beautiful spot there is. Pay for it.
Make Highway 69 a toll road?
Yeah. I think we ought
I like
to,
this
trucks
plan.
that come up here, we ought to
We
be
should.
taxed every
Yeah, so
one of
we get
those.
it up
Truck
local
stop
tax.
out here.
If your license plate is registered in the county, it's free.
Yeah,
Say that
that's
they
right,
work through-
yeah, that's right.
Well,
West-
we did have that, two of the big, crashes that we had, the drivers, had fallen asleep, and three of them, they had fallen asleep, two of them, the driver actually told me that based on, their policy within the trucking company that they were with, they had to stop at a designated truck stop, and there was not one. So the silver mine truck one, that guy said he was still 63 miles from where he was allowed to stop, and he just couldn't stay away.
Right,
So what's the answer? We put a truck
The
stop
truck
up there?
stop.
Well, one other thing some other counties have done is like when there's a police and a fire and an ambulance response, if the people in the crash are county residents paying taxes, they don't pay. But if it's out of county person, then they bill them for
like a
the
used,
cost of
everything.
everything.
yeah,
And we spent 17 hours on that truck crash,
yeah.
fire department and deputies.
That's actually what we ought to do. Well, that's the
Yeah,
reason why we should, I mean, the way I've never seen the trucks ever take the shortcut up here, ever, cutting across. They're trying to save them some money and not making that loop.
Well, yeah, they
So
got
let's
good, they
take the
don't
money
want
from
to-
them, if they're gonna jack it up in here and cost us money, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, we need to charge the swindlers. I mean, they're coming through.
We have to.
So,
Do you guys know about DOT, it's 11 hours, and if it's bad weather or accidents, you can go to 16, twice in line, that's it.
So what happens if I have a deputy and I make him work 12 hours and then he's driving a fast car
He's
in the
not
middle of the
driving
night in
80,000
deer country?
pounds.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Deer.
It has to do with 80,000 pounds.
How many deer crashes have we had this year?
Well, Pete's had 5, so.
We've had quite a few.
What, deer strikes?
Here,
Well, we think wildlife ought to pay us for that.
We should.
You know, it's their wildlife.
It says on the accident report, owner of damaged property.
Because they won't allow them to
Yeah.
hunt
Deer
them.
fest.
Yeah, they said we don't own the animals on our properties, they do.
When we do a criminal case, we can also go after the defendant for the costs of prosecution. And it used to be done in the courts where the judge could just tack on and say, pay $2,000 registration. But now they don't, so the county attorney, we could tell them who the big cases were. And one of our biggest cases, the person's a wealthy person here.
We put in for restitution on.
Whatever's legal to do, we ought to do it and make them.
Yeah, at least the transit people.
Are we good up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okey dokey.
So when can you give me like a new bottom line number to let me filter it down to the individual budget lines?
Closer to December.
No,
No.
we should know by
We might.
mid October.
In that box.
Cause I'd like to, I'd rather you tell me, hey, this is what you asked for, this is
Sure,
the
that's what
best we
we'll
can
do.
do, and then let me go back and figure out where.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. A little more too with the grant stuff here. Meanwhile,
I
bet on the come, start working.
I respectfully beg you guys to hire a grant manager.
Well, I
And
think,
the grant manager could easily write $1 million in grants.
if, it depends on, can we get him for $10,000 a year? I said, no, we can't get it.
It's $100,000 a year for a grant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be worth
The
it.
thing is, they would have to make their salary contingent on what they bring in.
Well, see, that's the thing, that's what people that are hired on that grant do now, as a matter of fact.
They get-
Not here.
Public, no,
They're-
public, have my
they're
point,
based
public
off their
health
volume,
and
but it's
the
not
OEM
part
and
of
that
the-
thing.
The
If you don't get
wildfire-
the grant, you don't get the job.
The wildfire grant we
You
can
don't
get
get
right
paid.
now is $7 million. That's what just the town of Beulah got, $7 million. We could do that in the county, and it pays for grant administration.
See,
So
that'd be a
one
way to
grant-
advertise it too.
We gotta have a
Right?
CWPT done for that.
Yeah, but then the other grants though that you can do, we could advertise for a grant writer and make that part of the deal, and your money is based, it's like these schemes you get in your phone all the time. If you bring in X dollars, you get paid a salary of X.
I think you could bring a grant guy in and he could do $1 million.
Especially a guy that would be,
On 100,000.
likes to live.
Well, and we don't have the Sentinel that's slamming down grants, so.
Or, yeah,
All right,
that don't understand, people have to understand, you gotta pay for it somehow.
And the grant writer doesn't have to live in the county, because all this stuff is done online.
right.
Sure, that's true too. We don't, that's not really fun.
Well, thank you, guys.
All right,
Very good.
good job.
See ya.